The
when you were
Oakland
younger?
Alameda County Coliseum, as we called it. Now, I remember the columnist Herb Cain. He
Of
compared the
course.
spelling. He compared the spelling of our Coliseum to the Roman Coliseum, which is not spelled exactly the same way.
Very
But
true.
it when it opened, I think I was in fifth or sixth grade, and it was a palace. It was a world renowned place where so much was going to be happening. And I happened to live in the slightly elevated part of the city, and I could see the lights of the Oakland Coliseum whenever there was an event down there, which was a big deal to me.
Absolutely. I grew up in the Bay Area, went to the Coliseum as well, home away from home. And I know that you attended a lot of games and you even worked at the Coliseum.
Yeah, there were three of us that went down for one of the big opening days. I believe it was when the second season of Vida Blue's phenomenal career. He pitched the opening game of the opening day doubleheader, and I went down with a couple of other guys. We were only in, were we in high school? I think we were in high school, and we had to wait for a very long time for all the big time professional vendors to line up before us, and then we had to pay $15 in order to join the union and get our junior work card. And then I believe that first day I sold soda. We were not to call it Pepsi. We were called to call it soda. It was because if people wanted to have a Coke, they wouldn't know that it was Pepsi instead. I guess I have no idea. But what you learn is don't sell soda because every cup spilled all over me, and I was just coated in hard sugary water in my pants for the rest of the day.
Oh, no. All right. Do you remember, did you have to just go up and down the aisles? What did you have to do? What did you have to say when you were there? Did you sell
You
peanuts also?
And later on, I sold peanuts. That's a pretty good gig because it's dry. I also sold popcorn. I knew guys that once they got into the hot dogs, especially, I don't know if any fans remember the colossal hot dog. That was a fabulous hot dog, I must say. But I never sold those, and I only did it I only did it a few times because you find out that it's incredibly hard work, and I didn't want to compete with. They were older gentlemen, and I think that was actually their career. I would see some of the vendors that I worked with on broadcasts of the 49er games at Kezar, of the Raider games at the Oakland Coliseum. These guys, and I saw them even at working at Cal football games. So there were professional vendors. That's what they did for a living. There were also like law students and college students that were making an extra buck. And once I made just enough pocket change, I was done with the gig.
You had other things you were going to do in life, I guess. Okay, so let me ask you this. A's fans, as you have said, are the most loyal, the best fans ever. It's been kind of a shrinking Coliseum lately, but next week it's going to be sold out. Those games are sold out. The fans are coming to see the last week. What do you think about that? And will you be there by chance?
I would like to move heaven and earth in order to catch a game. One of my kids definitely wants to be able to see an Oakland A's game in Oakland. I will be paying great attention. You know, the A's have had a perfectly respectable season, by the way. There's no reason why they couldn't be competitive at the gate. I think that what it is there. It's going to be a very melancholy homestand. There's going to be. I mean, look, I'm 68 years old. The Oakland A's have been a part of my life, and people that I paid attention to all through the Bash Brothers days. You know, certainly all of the glory days of their World Championship games. But he always paid attention to what the A's were doing, and that there are going to be so many people that will show up. But goodbye. I will take the provocative stance of saying those fans would be there if they had stayed and there had been a competitive team that was mounted instead of the reality of them moving their franchise. It's it's a bit of you know, they're saying there's no crying in baseball. I'm
I've heard
sorry.
that.
I'll be shedding a little bit of a tear when it comes down to the final out of the final game of the Oakland A's in the Oakland Coliseum.
So there will be some crying in baseball.
Yeah, yeah. You go back and look at the storied franchises when they left, where they were from. You know, the granddaddy of the Brooklyn Dodgers leaving, the New York Giants. Now they all went on to, they all went on to, great fame and fortune. The Kansas City Athletics came out of the Philadelphia Athletics, Connie Mack, as glorious a history in Major League Baseball as you're going to find. When Charlie Finley moved them to Oakland, we felt as though we had achieved a world class status that no one could ever take away from us. The Raiders were great. The Warriors were fabulous too, but they weren't called the Oakland Warriors, were they? The Oakland Raiders, the Oakland Athletics, is for major league franchises. And even though the Athletics are looks as though they are going to be moving on, that doesn't take away from the grand history that goes along with the word athletics on somebody's chest.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to mention or some memories you have as a kid in the stands? I don't want to take too much of your time, but it sure is nice hearing your stories. I appreciate it.
Well, let me tell you, I went along with my friend Alan and his older brother, and we were at Hot Pants Day. I don't know if you can remember Hot Pants Day, but every woman who was wearing hot pants, I believe, got in free. And you would have talked about a sellout crowd. There were a lot of women in hot pants there that day. I believe that was a doubleheader as well. They had a little bit of a hot pants competition in between the games, and I want to say there was an awful lot of excitement that day. The wonderful thing about having a ball club like that in your home is that you could decide 20 minutes before you were buying your ticket if you wanted to go to the A's game or not. And you might be there with, you might be there with 11,000 other people. You might be there with 7,000 other people, or you might be part of a massive sellout crowd for a bat day. Or said, I will tell you this too. Here's something fantastic. I saw the San Francisco legend Willie Mays play his last professional baseball game in the World Series against the Oakland A's. The Oakland A's won that day, by the way. So anytime you go to the ballpark, as Monty Moore used to say, remember Monty Moore? You can't beat fun at the old ballpark. You see play-by-play announcer. Anytime you go to the ball to see some, even if it was just Campy Campaneris turning the perfect double play, Sal Bando handled in the hot corner, Joe Rudy going deep, holding tight to the ball as he crashed into the wall out there in left field. I always saw something memorable at every single Oakland A's game, even if it was just might be how cold it was and we needed to have a blanket around our legs, maybe in one of those games early in the season.
Isn't that true? Do you have a favorite player?
At one point I was backstage and I was able to talk to Reggie Jackson at length. That was fascinating, getting his perspectives of it. I'm going to say that I love Gene Tennis. I love Dal Maxville, who actually I met personally when they had graduated to the job of being a bellboy later on. But I'm going to say the guy that I really loved the most was Mudcat Grant. He was a pitcher, and he was a wonderful interviewer whenever they put a microphone in front of his face. And just the idea that we could root for a guy named Mudcat. When you're a kid and when you're a baseball fan, you get attached to that. You never quite let go.
We're going to look in our archives, get some video of Mudcat. Wow, I really appreciate your time, Juliette Goodrich, talking to Tom Hanks, and you really are talking to all of our viewers in the Bay Area. We'll air this on the very last day, next Thursday, this
Okay, all
story.
right.
Appreciate you, and thank you.
Thank you for being here, and hey, let's play ball.